Hi, I'm Valium, and as always, I'm incredibly tired. And today we're going to be doing a dive into Honkai Star Rail's character progression. In this video, I'll cover all the different things you expect to farm, how you'll do the level up, they will affect your character's growth and power. I'll do, at the end, some quick thoughts on team comps, my expectations on what the meta will evolve into, from what I've experienced in the beta. I've completed all the non-repeatable content, and I'm pretty much at the end of what the repeatable content you can do at the moment is. So let's get started. For starters, all the characters have their own path and their own element. So the elements are all here. Physical, fire, ice, lightning, wind, quantum, and imaginary. So, what are the paths? So, they're all pretty much laid out here. And they pretty much do what they say they are. So, destruction, pretty much an all-rounder. They do good damage, good survivability. The hunts are pretty much assassins. Erudition, AoE, harmony, buffs, nility, they debuff your enemies, preservation, mostly shields at the moment, and abundance, like healing. So, there are also 4 and 5 star characters, as like in Genshin and Honkai Impact, if you've played either of them. You can tell by the gold and purple borders on the characters up here. So that's not to say that the 5 stars are more powerful than the 4 stars. They generally are, but as we've seen in, for example, Genshin Impact, there are quite a few teams that use certain 4 stars because they are just really strong. I'll talk a bit more about team building later. Their character, or the encounter design, has enough variance that it's not as simple as you might think to put together like a cookie cutter team that's good in every situation. The elements, how the elements work is every enemy has a break bar, and they're weak to certain elements, and when you break that enemy by doing damage and basically emptying out that bar, you'll apply a dot, and the dot depends on what element it is, and you'll also push them back in the initiative. So the first thing that we will talk about that affects a character's power is their level. We'll go over to Natasha, who I haven't leveled up at all. So Natasha is only level 1. If I level her up, you could, for example, just go and do battles and get XP that way. But that's not really how you're intended to do it. Like a lot of other games, you're expected to farm these materials, which are called adventure logs. There are 2 real ways you can do it. There is these calyxes, golden calyxes, which you turn in the Trailblazer power, which recharges each day, Or you can send out your characters on where are they? Assignments? And get them that way. I send mine out on like 20-hour assignments or whatever, and just gradually get them that way. You also get them out of like chests and dome for quests and stuff like that. Alright, back to where we are. So you might have noticed that Natasha, I could only level her up to level 20. And like some of my other characters are level 50. So that's because of a thing called Ascension. And Ascension requires, like, certain materials. That one there you just acquire for killing enemies. But for higher Ascensions, like, for my main character, requires, just materials you have to farm from what they're called, stagnant shadows, which is another like thing that consumes your Trailblazer XP. So you can see like a running theme here. They expect you to like expend Trailblazer XP to get to higher levels. So as you can also see, there's an equilibrium level that requires me to level up. Basically how that works is you upgrade your account level over time just by doing stuff. Whether it's doing quests or just farming stuff. That kind of thing. It's just time gating, realistically. I would be a lot further right now, but there is not all the quests are in the beta. So, yeah, that's that. So, let's talk a little bit about traces, which is the next thing. So, every character has a basic attack, skill, and ultimate, and talents and techniques. So, basic attack, skills, and ultimates are kind of self-explanatory, and they're kind of just your normal things. But the talents are the interesting things. For Astra, whenever she hits a different enemy with her abilities, it generates a charging stack, which increases her ally's attack, which, as you can imagine, is really, really strong. I think it's a maximum when she increases her, like, max stacks of charging is like 35% or something. So, that's an insane amount of, a really insane amount of extra damage that you can do. So, what's that have to do with traces? So, traces, they increase the damage modifiers. For example, this one here increases the damage modifier on basic attack. But there's also other stuff that traces do. For example, this one essentially makes basic attack do a burn. So, traces not only increases like the damage modifier for your abilities, but they also make like your abilities do other stuff. And then there's this boring stuff like this. Oh, your fire damage does more damage. Oh, your defense is increased. Woo! You know, boring stuff. But, so how traces work for leveling them up is, once again, oh, you go do, like, stuff that expends your Trailblazer XP. Woo, more farming. You kind of get the picture of, like, they want you to log in daily, spend resources to gain more power. So, some of these are actually quite valuable. Like, this one here is actually more valuable than you would think. The burn effect, while it might not actually affect for that much, or even hit for that much, this character here, Pela, one of her traces here means that she does 20% more damage to debuffed enemies. So, that's a pretty increased amount of damage. I actually don't know if dots count as debuffs. I'm not entirely sure. I think they do. But we'll go on to Eidolons. So, Eidolons are something that I really don't like. So, if you've played Genshin Impact or a lot of other gacha games, you'll kind of understand how they work. So essentially, if you get a copy out of a character and you already have the character, you'll get an Eidolon and you'll unlock a bonus thing. So what it's meant to do is, like, some of these are really strong. So it's meant to get you to basically roll more in the gacha system to gamble and get more power. So they're trying to get you to reach into your wallet to get more money out of your pocket. I find that quite, like, exploitative. Because some of these are really strong. Astra's second Eidolon is, after using her ultimate, Astra's charging stacks will not be reduced on her next turn. So the thing about Astra is, if you remember, her charging stacks increased her entire team's damage. Well, when it starts her turn, she loses 3 of the stacks. And there often is only 3 enemies in a fight. So, like, if you hit all 3 enemies with her skill, which is pretty reasonable to do, what will tend to happen is you have 3 stacks. So, you can get 3 stacks with this, use her ultimate, and then you have 6 stacks. And then you also, her ultimate gives your entire team extra speed. So you're going to act before the enemy, probably. So, what happens then? Well, you're basically going to have a massive, massive amount of damage that you can do. And then if you can break the enemy as well, because you're doing all that extra damage, you're going to push them back in the initiative. And then throw in the other stuff, like, for example, if you have a character like Seela, who can attack probably more than once in a turn, you've got an insane amount of damage that you're going to put out. So that's a crazy amount of damage that Astra can put out, or help your team put out. So the thing is, like, Astra is a 4-star. So her Eidolons are something you're eventually going to get, probably. Because 4 stars are a fairly common thing you'll get. If you're, like, rolling on the system, even if you're a free-to-play player, you're probably eventually going to get, like, a reasonable amount of copies of most 4 stars. But, for example, for 5-star characters, like, they're gonna have really strong Eidolons. That's just tends to be what happens. They're trying to, get you to get your wallet out. So, I don't like systems like this. I talked about in my first video that I don't like the gacha system because it's exploitative. Especially for people with gambling problems. So, I'll get off my soapbox. And we'll go on to light cones. So, light cones are weapons, essentially. So light cones they level up the same way characters level up. They have a specific path for them. So, for example, a destruction light cone can only be equipped by a destruction character. There is a mechanic called superimpose. Wow. That is... Wow. Anyway, how that works is you basically destroy or consume a light cone of the same... an identical light cone. And it increases this this modifier here. So, for example, it increases the wearer's basic attack and skill damage by 32%. I think it started at like 8 or 16%. Do I have another one? Collapsing Sky, 16%. So, light cones come in anything from, I believe, 3-star, yeah, to 5-star. And there's like, for example, this one here is character name's Bailu. This is her signature one. Doesn't mean that you have to equip it on her. I will probably use it for her eventually. I only just got it, which is why I haven't upgraded it. But you can see it's like really strong. Increases the wearer's max HP, by 12%. Their outgoing healing by 12%. But like, this is another thing is like they want you to like roll on for these, because this will the only way to obtain this specific one will be from a from the gacha system, and they'll then want you to use the superimpose system to basically upgrade it. And it'll be rare. So, aside from the gacha system, how can you get light cones? So, light cones you can get from a few ways. There is the boss. Where are they? Echoes of War. The bosses drop light cones. I found a few. You can use the Forgotten Halls. There's some reasonably good light cones. I don't know how exactly good these are. Like, I'll leave that to like theory crafters and stuff. I'm not going to like try and work out which like stuff is like really good. You get like light cones also out of chests and stuff. I don't know. And then from Simulated Universe, you can also spend like the reward points that you get from that on light cones. Those ones are 5-star ones. I'm not sure how good those ones are. So, next one. Onto Relics. So, this is where you're going to spend most of your time farming for upgrading your characters. As you can see, I've spent most of my time like upgrading my ones on, I think, Sealer and my main character. I'm mostly using one set at the moment, which is the Musketeer of the Wild Wheat. Wow, what a name! So these 4 pieces come from the Cabins of Corrosion, and they like, it doesn't take too long to do a Cabins of Corrosion run. It probably takes like 5 minutes or something. It takes like 40. Yeah, it takes like 40 of the Trailblazer power. So that's not. That means you do it what, like, is it 5 times? Oh god. No, not quite. So yeah, you don't quite have enough. God, I'm so tired that even doing math in my head is a pain in the ass. So you can do it 4 times and you have 20 left over to do something. I guess you go, like, farm some stuff. But yeah. I can't farm the highest level stuff. I can't farm, like, the 5-star stuff yet because I need to, like, get to the next equilibrium level, which is a bit more difficult. Well, I just need more XP, and all the story quests aren't in, so I can't get there yet. Alright, so the reason I'm using this Musketeer of the Wild Weed at the moment is just because it increases your attack by 10%. Not a fairy crafter, so I don't know really what's good. Just farming the set because it's pretty universally good on everything because a lot of stuff scales off attack. There are only like a couple of characters at the moment that like their stuff scales off defense. Like for example, Bilo, her stuff scales. For example, like her off outgoing healing, it scales off this set. And I think I have March on increased defense, and max damage shields can absorb. So there is that. So there are four pieces that come from Caverns of Corrosion, and then there's 2 pieces that come from Simulated Universe. Now, the Simulated Universe pieces are going to be a pain. So the Simulated Universe pieces, you have to get to an elite, and the elites come up every about 4 rooms. Now, the problem with that is it's actually going to take a while to get there. And until you have like proper gear, when you get to farming like the 5-star ones, it's going to suck. It's really going to suck. That's my honest opinion. Like, you'll probably want to just farm the Caverns of Corrosion stuff until you get the last, and then farm the last 2 pieces. So, each piece has 4 substats, and then the main stat. They're all random, which is why I said that you'll require like a lot of time farming them. I've got a couple of pieces that are really good. Like, this piece is pretty good. That piece is garbage. But yeah. Oof. Anyway. So, now to talk a little bit about team compositions. No, I just opened and then just closed that. So, little bit about parts. Destruction is pretty good. The Hunt, I think, is going to be really good. Erudition, I don't think will be as good. I think certain Erudition characters will be really good. Like, even though it says they're the main damages against groups of enemies, there are problems with that. There are certain enemies, for example, that counter targets. So what can happen is either what if you do AoE damage, they can just counter and hit you for like what 2/3 of your health. It can really hurt. Harmony is insanely good. Nihility, ugh. So this will get into a little bit what I'll talk about in a second. The Nihility characters that we have right now are actually pretty solid, but applying debuffs to enemies isn't as good as like you think over the long term, because fights, you don't want to be in a fight for that long. I'll talk about that in a second. Preservation is pretty solid, and Abundance is pretty solid. So, how I think the meta is going to go is, like, I think you will want very high DPS characters. I think it's you're going to be trying to go for a very fast meta. So why is that? So, the reason for that is because of how the bosses in the simulated universe work. So the simulated universe, if you don't know, is the end game like roguelike mode. So you do get buffs over like the over the course of the run. So like that's a good way to get extra buffs. and like that can mean it doesn't matter as much. But the problem becomes with that is you get to the boss, and basically all the bosses either buff themselves every turn or every other turn. So the longer the fight goes on, the less likely you are to win. So you need as much damage as possible. And as I said earlier, with AoE characters, there are characters that have counters, or counterattack you when you hit them. So you don't really want AoE characters. So the hunt characters are going to be, I think, like the biggest thing, because they're really good at killing elites, they're really good at killing bosses, and they're also really good at killing just individual enemies. Harmony characters are really strong because, like as I was talking about Astra earlier, Astra is really strong. She increases your speed with her ultimate. She increases the amount of damage that she does. Her only problem she has is, like, she hits everything with her skill. So that's a problem. She does AoE damage. And then you have Pingyang, who is one of the other ones. Her ability is kind of insane. She increases the attack of an ally and then makes them do lightning damage for 3 rounds. That is crazy good. I only just unlocked her, so I haven't played with her. So those are pretty insane. So I think we're going to like go towards teams that have the hunt characters and harmony characters, and they're probably gonna have a healer. We only have 2 healers in the game right now. We have Bailu, who is a 5-star, so not everyone is going to get her. And the other one we have is Natasha. Natasha is one that everybody gets. I haven't really played with her that much, or at all. I hear that she's alright. So, not too bad. But ideally, people will probably play with the hunt characters and just like get the fight over as quickly as possible. So, what else is there? One other thing to mention is Welt, another 5-star. He is the only imaginary damage or character in the game right now. So there's quite a few enemies right now that are vulnerable to imaginary. So if you pull in the gacha mechanic and get him, you'll be pretty strong. I've leveled him up, but I haven't got him in like any relics or anything yet. I'm getting there. What else was there? I'm just going to talk about a few other things. Alright, so couple of other things. So this game, a lot of the combat is going to be based off of action economy, right? So the more actions that you can get in a turn, the better. That's why, like, Astra is quite strong. Her ultimate gives you extra speed. So extra speed means that you can change up the initiative and act before the enemies. If you act before the enemies and can kill them, you're just not taking damage from them, so you don't need as much healing. So, like, for example, like Bailu, like, you can just attack with her instead of having to heal on your turn. Which is great, because then you get extra skill points, which means you can use your skills on your other characters to take damage. Another person is March 7th. March 7th counters when a enemy with a shield is attacked. And then there is Herta. I haven't played with Herta, but I hear she's really good. Her talent is when an enemy falls below 50% health, she just attacks them and does damage to all of them. Again, AoE. which, as I said, has its drawbacks. So, what have the teams I've been playing with look like? So I have this team, which I've been using to basically clear my cabins of corrosion every day. Payla does good damage. Her skill removes enemy buffs, which is actually pretty good in some places. There haven't been that many buffs that are good to remove at this point, but there have been a couple. She may be more useful as we get to more content, but at the moment that skill hasn't been that useful. It's just been occasionally useful. Astra and Danheng, just pretty useful. Sorry. This hasn't actually... I've been using Sealer. Sorry. Sealer is just insanely strong because... Sealer, if she kills something, she gets to act again. So essentially you could, if she has enough damage, she can kill 2 things in a single action. So that's just really strong. And she can do, and she gets to act, essentially if she has enough speed, she gets to act twice in the first round. So you can clean up really quickly. If I need a little bit more survivability, for example, if I'm doing Simulated Universe, I just swap in Bailu. This is a team here that's a bit more survivable. Free to play friendly. Use March 7th to put a shield on the main character. The main character, once you get further into the story, gets a second path, which is preservation. And with that path, you can use a taunt so that you're the only target. And that taunt also puts a shield on your entire party. So what you tend to do then with March 7th is you put a shield on your main character, and then you're basically incredibly tanky, you've shielded the entire party, and then March 7th will retaliate against anyone who gets basically attacks you or your entire party. So you do pretty good damage. And then Astra and Danheng can just clean up. This one is a more friendly for if you need healing. I haven't played with Natasha, but I hear she's a good healer. As I said, this one would probably be pretty good as well. Haven't played with either Natasha or Herta though, but I hear they're both pretty reasonable. So, I will quickly show you, probably want to switch to this team. Not 11, so I need 2 teams. 10 is fine. Right. I will quickly do this. So I'm going to start out with Astra.
Beat it up before it is.
The extra damage will help.
Great.
Start out with Sealer doing the extra damage.
Let me end your misery.
As I told you earlier, the kill means I can act the second time. And then it's not my turn, but I can use my ultimate.
Free you from your chains.
Get the kill on this enemy.
Among the sea of butterflies. Illusions of the past. Let me end your misery.
Act again.
A guest with no manners, huh? A gift from the stars.
Let's make it quick.
Take a bit of damage. Targeting Bailu doesn't really matter to me too much. I'll just break this guy. Kill him.
Let me end your misery.
Oh, I get an attack boost just because of this Forgotten
Who's the lucky one
Halls
today?
ability.
Everything is ordained by the star. Oh, profound secret.
Use
of the
Astra's
stars.
ult, give my entire team
These
speed.
trailblazers, your
You can see the initiative over here changes.
Let's go. Rules are made to be broken.
Here's my main character's ult.
Look, listen, feel, kick! Who's next? I'll free you from your chains. Disappear among the sea of butterflies. Illusions of the past.
As you can see, my team put out a decent chunk of damage even if I don't break the enemy.
Stretch. I don't remember inviting a gift from the stars.
Let's make it quick. Take this!
The other thing is in Forgotten Halls, like
What
there's
a-
basically a timer that you want to be defeating your enemy on.
Who's the lucky one today?
So that's the other reason why I think the meta is gonna be quite fast and like lean towards like very fast teams.
Time to show.
Alright, we'll use Bilo's healing.
What's in your
This should heal like
prescription?
pretty high. Yeah.
Don't mess.
I
Look
think I'll
out.
just use that.
Looks like somebody needs a knock. Huh?
Targeting my main character, that's fine.
Who's next?
Let's go. Take this!
And smash.
Rules are made to be broken.
Think that should be enough to finish that off.
You're out!
Now, I will leave this, and then I will show you the second team. Keep in mind, this team isn't as good. I have to switch my light cone because I am a different path now. I just assume that. I don't think I can. Yeah, I don't have enough. Alright. I will just have to play with a lower level one. What did I say the team was again? It wasn't that. It was March 7th. I might have a fun time trying to kill this. This is not an optimal team for killing this.
We need a strategy.
Will of
I'll use the
preservation.
defensive boost and then use this.
Found your weakness. Time
Yeah,
to
keep
get
in mind that I
vigilant.
haven't invested as much into
A
these
gift from the
characters.
stars.
Clemency? Never heard of it.
Watch this.
Lance at the ready. Indestructible.
Try that again.
Lance ablaze. Flaming
Alright,
lance.
let's see how much damage I can do with this.
Forward.
This hasn't been a team that I've really messed around with much, so...
Look out!
Step aside. I have no interest in stoking conflict. The truth of life and death, revealed in an instant. This sanctuary is but a vision. Break!
You can't run! My turn.
Alright.
Stay right there while I give you a present! Gotta try hard sometimes. Check out this awesome move!
I'm on guard. Defend the weak.
Try that again!
As you can see, my march is doing like no damage.
You can't run!
She's not really there to do damage, she's just there for the shield.
A guest with no manners, huh? Who's the lucky one today?
Clemency? Never heard of it. The time is now.
You have the worst luck running into me. Try that again. You can't run.
This team might not even be able to kill this.
Everything is
let's see
ordained by the
if
soul
this
for
is
some
enough.
secret
This
to the
helps.
stars. Give these trailblazers your blessing. I don't remember inviting you.
I think this enemy will just
A
do...
gift from the stars.
Lance at the ready. Lance ablaze. Flaming lance. Forward.
With me out here, how can we lose? Gotta try hard sometimes. Check out this awesome move.
I think I might have trouble killing me. At the very least, it's gonna be very, very slow.
Indestructible.
Try that again. A guest with no... Stay right there while I give you a present.
I might speed this up a little. Whereas this is gonna be a very long video.
The truth of life and death.
I mean, it already is,
But a
but
vision.
hey.
Break!
Huh? You can't run. You can't run. Here.
Fighting is me.
Who invited you? Everything is ordained by... Oh, stars, give these trailblazers your blessing.
Let's see. Alright, taunt again.
Tough luck running
Lance
into me.
ablaze. Lance forward.
My turn.
I've no
Gotta
interest
try
in
hard
conflict.
some... Watch this awesome move.
Fighting is
Oh,
meaningless.
okay. Just freeze him.
Scared yet?
Lance at the ready.
As you can see, like, freezing is really
Tough luck
strong.
running into me. Who will it be? You're annoying.
Not a scratch.
You can't run.
The truth of life and death. The sanctuary.
Alright, there we go.
Vision. Break.
As you can see, that team clears really, really slow
Might as well
against
beat it up before it attacks
tanky
me.
enemies. And as you can also see, like, this team at the moment wouldn't clear fast enough. It's mostly just not due to not having enough damage. Like, if you just look at the relics, on, I think my Dan Hung, yeah, it's garbage. So he doesn't do enough damage, and, like, my March 7th is about the same. Like, if they had better relics, there would be no problem clearing that. But yeah. As you can see, you can do some interesting, like, synergies there. But I think that's all for today. I've showed you some, like, decent things. I think I've talked enough about, how the scaling in this game works. There is a bunch of stats. I am not going to talk about, like, how everything works for that. I will leave that to theory crafters. And what the optimal, like, crit rate and, like, how much energy regen rate and stuff like that you should have. The effect resist, break effect. But, if you managed to watch this far, I'm impressed. I am very impressed. So, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, all that junk. Have a nice day.